Okay, these players forge the path for the next generation of stars we will welcome into the National Football League starting tonight. Pittsburgh, this is a moment you all been waiting for. Yins ready? All right. The 2026 NFL Draft is officially open. The Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock.
Oh, boy. Well, it cannot possibly get any more Pittsburgh than that. Terry Bradshaw, Ben Roethlisberger, Mel Blount, Lynn Swann, Steeler legends on the stage to open up the festivities tonight. Not a lot of mystery at number one, but certainly a huge story as Fernando Mendoza waits to hear his name called. Adam Schefter, there are a lot of threads connecting him to the Raiders tonight. Schefter.
Well, Grady, before last season began, Fernando Mendoza reached out to former NFL quarterbacks coach Brian Griese to help him get ready for his NFL career. They had connections before, and more have come into focus now. They both attended Christopher Columbus High School in Miami. They both led their colleges to national championships. Mendoza, Indiana, and Griese at Michigan, where his backup was Tom Brady, who will work with Fernando Mendoza in Las Vegas and in San Francisco. Brian Griese works side by side with an assistant coach named Clint Kubiak, who now becomes the Raiders head coach and will help usher along Mendoza. These connections have helped Mendoza get to the moment he is now. Their connections from Christopher Columbus High School in Miami to Tom Brady and Clint Kubiak in Las Vegas. Mendoza is set to hit the ground running.
All right, Schefter, obviously a special night, and you will hear from Mendoza as soon as his name is called. And Mel, he will join this prestigious list of names in just a matter of moments. The only players ever to win the Heisman, win the national championship, and be the #1 overall pick. Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, Joe Burrow, and in just a few moments, Fernando Mendoza. So, Mel, you and I, we do the First Draft podcast all year long with Field Yates. At the beginning of this season, I don't think anyone was expecting that Fernando Mendoza would be the first pick in this draft.
We were talking Arch Manning with the trifecta, which was, right, Heisman Trophy, national championship, and #1 pick overall. Then it went to Dante Moore. He had that great game against Penn State up at Happy Valley late September. Then Fernando Mendoza goes from Cal to Indiana. You're watching him to see if he develops, see if he improves. Does he cut that sack total down? It was 41 sacks at Cal in 11 games. Yes, he did. 25 sacks in 16 games. Clutch throws like that to Omar Cooper Jr. You talk about a guy decision-making, late in plays, like right here, flawless, cracking the code. He talked about that. How about mobility? How about beating teams with his legs? Look at him in the pocket here. He waited out. Accurate throws to all levels. This kid, when he needed to come through in the clutch, he did game after game. So he ascended from late first, second round, all the way up where you were not going to deny that Fernando Mendoza was the best quarterback in this group and the best player overall right there with Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. And to do what he did, the hits that he withstood, amazing toughness, the mobility. He had against Penn State, a quarterback draw for 10 yards on third down, 18-yard touchdown run. Everybody covered, take it up the middle for a touchdown against Penn State. Then that touchdown run on the quarterback draw against Miami showed change of direction, toughness, and athleticism. Make no mistake about it. The Las Vegas Raiders were fortunate that they have the #1 pick, and there's a quarterback there of the quality of Fernando Mendoza. Historically, who's his grades? Eli Manning, same grade as Eli, same grade as Matt Ryan. That's Fernando Mendoza. Raider Nation, be happy you got the #1 pick, and there was a quarterback of this caliber there in a division with Mahomes and Herbert and Nix. You cannot be a distant fourth. You got to be right there, and this young man with that supporting cast that they're building with the Raiders has a chance to get there and match those quarterbacks in the AFC.
No one questions that he's the #1 pick in this draft, but Booker, he's not a perfect prospect. What things are you looking for?
Well, it's a couple of concerns. He led the nation in RPOs, and so there was a lot of predetermined stuff before him before the ball was ever snapped. He threw a lot of back shoulder fades, and so when you're talking about how the NFL is going to make you play, the NFL is going to make you play post-snap. A lot of what he did was pre-snap. That's #1. And #2, guys, it's really simple. When you're the #1 overall pick, you're going to be asked to carry the mail. You're going to be asked to be Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, Joe Burrow. Do we see this quarterback becoming one of those guys that can carry the team? Because when you're the first pick, You're going to be asked to do that at some point.
Well, look, I don't think that he is uniquely qualified to go ahead and carry the football team. When I went out to Indiana for their pro day, the number one thing that they said was, do not underestimate his leadership ability. There's another guy who exuded tremendous leadership ability during his time in the NFL, and that was Drew Bledsoe, a former number 1 overall as well, who had about 6'5", 240 pounds. Quite honestly, I played against Bledsoe. He looked just like Fernando Mendoza. The deep ball, the ability to throw it on time, in rhythm, put it with touch, throw it with touch, and be able to just drop it in the bucket where wide receivers can catch and finish the play. Drew Bledsoe, you're going to see it here. This is old school tape now. This is the kind of tape that I love, Mel. This old AstroTurf, the kind that would just rip the skin off of you. Drew Bledsoe used to deal back then. Fernando Mendoza is going to deal for the Las Vegas Raiders. They should be absolutely ecstatic that they got someone of this caliber.
Hey, did anybody think that Joe Burrow or Peyton Manning could carry a team when they came out? I don't think so. There were questions, right? They answered those questions because they got a lot of help from their teammates.
Fernando Mendoza led Indiana to the greatest season ever in the history. I think he can handle it.
Fernando Mendoza was not born the last time the Raiders won a playoff game. That was January 19th of 2003. Mendoza was born in October of that year, and he has been waiting seemingly every day since for the moment that is now about to arrive. The commissioner on his way to the podium to announce the first pick in this 2026 NFL Draft.
With the first pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana.
There's the party at his house, both inside and, as you see there, outside. And then a celebration is also on at Christopher Columbus High School nearby, where Fernando Mendoza once starred. That's a celebration and a nearby watch party as well. Listen, if there has been a better story in college football history than Indiana in 2025, I have not heard it, and Fernando Mendoza had the starring role. Here he is tonight, finally, the number 1 pick in the draft, and he is standing by now with our Taylor McGregor for his initial impressions on being the number 1 pick in this draft. Taylor.